So how do you actually bank while you're living in a foreign country? Hey, Jason here. If you've been watching the channel, you've been seeing me 9 years in this expat lifestyle. I am now on my fourth country, third continent in Lusaka, Zambia. And one of the things I started doing is just sharing some of the tips and tricks that I've learned over this 9-year journey to help save you some of the hurdles and obstacles that I had to go through. And most importantly, what are some of the things that you may want to look out for if you're looking to become an expat? And if you're thinking about coming to Africa, why to look into Lusaka, Zambia as a very, very good place to settle down and retire and set up businesses. And so in today's video, we're going to talk about banking. Now, one of the things I've been seeing, like people are giving a lot of advice about being overseas, dating, all this stuff, but people are not talking about how to live your life, a functional life. Like, you should not be in any country living there full time and you do not have access to bank accounts to at least be able to move money around. Like, you don't have to have physical money in the accounts, but you should be able to move money around at any given time. And just depending on something like Western Union, which is very time dependent to be able to get physical cash, it just doesn't cut it for the modern era that we live in. And so there's two approaches to this. One is for my military veterans. For you, if you have any access to military bank accounts, depending on the bank accounts you use, I use USAA and Navy Federal Credit Union. So you can have those, and there's other military banks. So most of them usually have the same international policies, where they may give you unlimited or a certain amount of ATM fee refunds. So like for me with USAA, I don't know if it's unlimited, but I know I get up to like 5 to 7. But for me, I don't use the ATM too much. The most I may use the ATM is maybe 9 times a month. And that's depending if I have to pull out my rent money and stuff like that. How many times I have to use it just for that. But like every time I've had an ATM fee, it's been refunded to me and it comes back instantly as soon as I finish the transaction. And so most military accounts get to give you that because those ATM fees add up, man. Those things add up after a while, especially if you're full time overseas, because every time you're pulling money, and you got to pay for that money that you're pulling. This is one of the things that stopped me from going to the UK in the beginning. Having to pull out, and I was seeing how much the charge of euro was when I was in Amsterdam and everything. I was like, hey, this stuff is adding up, and it's adding up fast. Because there, like when I was there, I just didn't have an understanding of the money, so I was pulling out from the ATM a lot. And also, like, I was fresh in the game of traveling, when you just don't know better. And so I was always under that perception, we don't pull out too much cash. But now I know how to budget and I understand my routine and my lifestyle. And it's about the same no matter where I go. So I know exactly roughly how much walking cash I need on me to where I'm okay no matter where I'm at. And so you'll get that over time. Just give yourself grace on that one. But while you're doing that, you still need to be able to bank and understand how to bank and set yourself up properly, because you do got to be careful of some things like scammers, your account getting hacked, stuff like that. Unfortunately, it happens here like everywhere else in the world. I haven't been to a place that's been immune to it yet, and it's just the world we live in. So like I just set things in place to where even if my account get hacked, they can get caught right away. There's very minimal amount of money that can be taken from it. And so I just felt like I would share that with you. Now, if you're someone who doesn't have the military experience and access to military banking, then you need to look into online banking or see if your bank have some type of international banking for you. Sometimes some of these banks have sister relationships with international banks, depending on the countries. And so you have to look and see and just ask the question. And don't be afraid to ask. At the end of the day, the bank wants your money in their bank. So they will find a way to be able to have you still have access to your money, because they don't want to give up that fractional thing that they do, the fractional reserve that they do. Trust me. And so with the online banking and the military banking, This is the way I say approach it is have at least two different accounts and two different checking accounts. And what you do is you have one primary account. This is where the majority of your money goes to. And from there, that is your distribution account. It distributes money to your other accounts if you have more than two. I'm just saying two to keep it simple and keeping it within the same bank. But you can do the same thing with other banks. As long as you can SWIFT or send it to each other, no problem by connecting accounts. There's no issues with it. So how I do it is I only move over and send myself however much money that I need for any given time. So like if I need to pay my rent, I send myself the money over just to pay the rent. That is the only account that I keep a card with. I mean, that's my card that I move around with. So if I lose it, someone copy it, something happened, they can only get out the little bit of money that I just moved over just for whatever I'm doing. Like this includes grocery shopping, everything. Like I don't keep large sums of money. Because one of the things that happened to me when I came from Panama, as soon as I got back in the United States, I think I flew into Miami at that time. I had flew in for a connecting flight to Dallas. My card was hacked. And I'm like, how am I getting hacked coming into the airport in the United States? And I think at that time they got like $300 or $400 US off of me. And you know, when you're traveling, like that's the last thing you want to see is a good amount of money just coming out of your account. And you know, as soon as you call the bank, yes, they'll put the money back in there, but then they're going to close your account. You don't have access to your money, or you got to send some money to somebody. Like it's a headache, man. It is a headache especially if you're living overseas, like it is a headache when you have to freeze an account and get a new debit card. And so that what taught me how to do this is after that experience going back to the United States to visit. I think we were going for our cousin's wedding at the time. And I was just like, dude, you got to be kidding me. But luckily, everything worked itself out. That's why I'm really grateful to be using USAA, to be honest with you, because they make it real simple now, and it's even better now. But that's how you do it. Like you just use your primary account as your distro account. And you're just moving money over to whichever accounts you have your debit card for. Now, with that primary account, you can keep the debit card frozen on ice, works really well. You can keep it locked up in a safe somewhere, keep it at home, safeguard it, or you can even just keep it to where, you know, now like you can digitally use your cards with virtual wallets. So you can just have it in a backup virtual wallet. And with virtual wallets, you usually have to have biometrics and a password to actually be able to use them. And so it's not like someone can just take your phone and use your virtual wallet. They have to either biometrics or know your password. And so that's the way you can have your primary. If just things hit the fan and you just need to get cash or have access to money, and that's your worst case situation. But I'm telling you, like it is a headache, man. You have your bank account freeze and you're in another country, like you have to pay that money to get that card to you. And it's easy to say, oh, it's no problem now, but when you have to pay like $100, almost $200 just to get a little bitty bank card, and it was off of something silly because someone trying to take like $5 or $10 from you, you start being like, yo, I can't be wasting money like this on nonsense. That $100, $200, that could be something going on some land. That could be money going towards a business. And so I just wanted to help you out with that and save time. If you have like more questions about it, let me know. Because it's a real simple thing that I do. Is just I have my distribution account and I send money to different accounts that I use for different things. So that way my primary chunk of money never have any risk of being stolen. Like it just doesn't have the risk. Like you can't even get the card to go to the ATM. And the other reason I did that in place is just for myself. Like, yo, don't be reckless out here. And so things on top of that you can do, you can send money to saving accounts, insurance plans. Like, set yourself up, man. If you're going to decide to leave your home country, go to a different country, especially where your money is multiplying, set yourself up. Once you get into the new country, then you get a bank account there. How it works for Zambia. This is for Zambia. You will need a reference letter from someone who is already banking with that account. I bank with F&B. So like if you're here and you need a reference letter for F&B, just hit me up. I got you. And that goes for every bank out here. Stanbic Bank, ABSA, all of them I went and got the information from. You will have to have a reference letter from someone who is banking in that with that bank, that institution. And so that's really much it. I can't really think of anything else. If there's any questions or concerns, just leave them down below. Just remember this, I'm Jason, and success is simple once you know how.